Yep, it's me again. They hate me, that's why they give a fuck about me at the same time. As always, I am your host, JD Miles. The MGTOWs, they love to hate. Even the ones that claim everybody loves to hate them, loves to hate MGTOW at the same time as always, which is why they keep us relevant to this very day, and I'm back again. Y'all see the title. Now, to be completely 100% honest, I don't like Mark Zuckerberg as much as the next, especially with all the data breaches that's been happening on Facebook. But this retarded fuck shit right here completely takes the cake. And as much as I don't want to defend Mark Zuckerberg on anything, and this is just me personally, we're going to have to call the bullshit out for exactly what it is, because these femitards are clearly in their feelings and on period overload, all because of what Mark Zuckerberg said. But what can they do? Absolutely nothing. And it's funny how these femitards always get the idea that they believe that they own and control spaces and social media platforms in which they're not the owner of, but yet they want to pretend like they do. And before I go any further, shout out to Cheese's Ed, the host of the Coffee Pod. I'll leave the link to his full video in the description box. Go check it out. Excuse me. But without further ado, let's get down to business, shall we?
Feminists hate Zuckerberg. And ever since you went on that Joe Rogan podcast that I covered the last time, I was talking about him here on the Coffee Pod. I've seen a lot of takes pretty much calling him an incel, right? And talking shit about him. And they do not like the man right now.
And yet nobody gives a fuck what these femitards think. And I'm also gonna break down something else here too, because it's now down to a point, and listen to what I'm saying, because this is some crucial shit right here. It's now down to a point to where anyone these femitards don't like, they automatically call them an incel. And as Uncle JD constantly state time and time again, the word incel has completely lost its meaning. Once it gets down to a point to where they're now using a term as a way to insult people they don't like, and they don't even fit the description, this is how you know these words have completely lost their meaning. But let's continue.
Now, there are a lot of you guys who view him as somebody who's just switching up because of the current political climate. We all have our opinions. I just think this conversation is kind of interesting, hilarious, but check this out. Here we have a woman who responds back to Mark Zuckerberg saying that the corporate world has been neutered and lacks masculine energy. They don't like that, especially.
And we don't give a fuck. And yes, I'm here to completely debunk this female's response, or a counter response, if you want to call it. But let's continue.
Especially the chicks in tech and those people who are proud of these tech companies and how they really push down diversity to the extent of ludicrousy.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
I think a lot of the corporate world is like pretty culturally neutered. The kind of masculine energy, I think, is good. And I think corporate culture was really like trying to get away from it. I think having a culture that like celebrates the aggression a bit more has its own merits that are really positive.
The last thing office culture needs is more men showing off their aggression and trying to be more masculine. I think he's been listening to too many of these red pill alpha male manosphere podcasts. He sounds like a real incel, talking about masculine energy at work. We're not.
Yet look at this dumb, bitter broad presenting her own masculinity on camera, which is why she's so triggered. And what's more, they put red pill on anybody, even though Mark Zuckerberg is not even red pilled. And to embarrass her ass some more, according to this retarded fuck ass bitter broad, Mark Zuckerberg, and yes, I did a background check. Mark Zuckerberg, who is happily married and have 2 children, somehow equates to being an incel. Now, fellas, what did I say earlier? Once it get down to a point to where they now starting to just throw the incel bullshit around on men that they don't like, or the men do something that gets them in their fifis. Oh, now all of a sudden they're incels, even though they don't even fit the description. They don't even qualify for one. And god damn it, I know how to pause. God damn. But I digress. Once it gets down to a point where they start using terms as incels as a way to insult somebody, even though they need to go back and define what incel is. Once it gets down to that point, the word incel completely lost its meaning. And at this point, the ones who still trying to use it as an insult are nothing more than just bitchy and whiny crybabies. Throwing the word, using incel as a buzzword to whine, cry, bitch, moan, and scream out of their echo chambers. And let's just call it how we see it. She's mad in her feelings, throwing a tantrum because what did Uncle JD said before? They are now starting to lose their power and control. This is what it's really about. They are starting to lose their power and control. Now they want to jump on camera onto social media, boo-hoo, whining, crying, bitching, and complaining. Let's continue.
We're not there to flirt. We're there to work. Look.
See, the problem with like women like this chick and why no one will really ever take her seriously, right, is because not only does she run the type of relationship, because I think she's like married or something like that, but this is the type of woman who believes that happy wife, happy life. I bet you, bro. Probably wouldn't take me long.
Yeah, I think so too. Which, of course, as I said before, that happy wife, happy life bullshit is exactly what it is. Bullshit. Let's continue.
I'm going to find the video on her page that promotes that happy wife, happy life is the way to go. She likes the fact that they're neutered men out here. She likes the fact that someone like Steve Harvey got on national television and said, she is the table. She can make another you. This is who we're dealing with here. And she doesn't even understand the definition of an incel, right? A person or a man in specific who's involuntary celibate. They don't even understand.
Exactly, especially if she believes that a married man with children is an incel. Boy, they love screaming that out of their echo chambers, don't they?
And the words that they use. You ask them to define incel. It's like, okay, now explain to me why someone who's a billionaire is an incel. You can call him, you can say he's like lame or square, but incel is by definition, the wrong way to categorize the men. Because
Facts.
the man's married. It doesn't make sense. Unless if you want to change the definitions of words, which is what a lot of these really liberal chicks love to do. Right? Let's keep listening.
Yeah, especially when it does. Yeah, especially it doesn't fit the narrative, or as we call it, moving the goalpost. Moving the goalpost will make someone fit the definition, even though they make themselves look completely retarded as fuck in the process. But let's continue.
Look at him. Being in the group but not a part of the group. Watch how many times he tries to reach out to be a part of it. And watch how many times they just straight ignore him. Look at this. Trying to reach for it. Look at.
And look at you, ma'am. Look at you, ma'am. In front of your camera. In front of your camera. Worrying about whether someone else gets accepted or not. Look at you, ma'am. In front of your camera. Boo-hoo, whining and crying about what someone else is doing. Ma'am, what the fuck is you doing? No. What is you doing? Because we damn sure don't see you in that picture. We don't see anybody, we don't see you in that picture along with them. And it sounds like you're jealous as fuck. No, seriously, you sound jelly as fuck. I mean, what did Tupac said at the beginning of his song, Picture Me Rolling? Why are you so mad? Why are you so mad? Why can't you be happy? Damn, this femmetard looks like she wants to be part of that team. Bitter broad. Oh, man.
Sir, he thinks getting rid of DEI and allowing men to verbally use women on his platforms is masculine? I don't care how many perms you get, how many boxy black tees you wear, and how many gold chains you buy. They will never think that you're one of them. The work.
Damn, I know how to pause again. And guess what, ma'am? It doesn't matter how much weave you got on your head or how much cake-up makeup to cover your ugly mugshot, to cover that criminal mugshot. Guess what? You don't own what Mark Zuckerberg has. Here's an idea, ma'am. Why don't you stop CBCing in front of your camera, crying, bitching, and complaining in front of your camera? Start your own social media platform. You set the rules however you want. You set the ground rules however you want and be happy. Instead of believing that you could go around dictating someone else's. And when it comes to Mark Zuckerberg, it's his platform. He could do whatever he wants. He don't have to answer to you bitter broads like you, ma'am. Let's continue.
The work environment has always been masculine energy. How many more Me Too movements do y'all need? How many more times do you have to be sued for passing women over for promotion to be a part of the good old boys club?
Yet look who's trying to be part of the good old boys club. And you could tell she's a feminist. Look how she puts so much emphasis on the word masculinity. And keep this in mind as well, ma'am. Y'all Me Too movement failed. Because what happened after the Me Too movement? Need a reminder? The men started distancing themselves from you women. No more Christmas parties. No more being in the same room or in the same car as men. The men don't want to deal with y'all. You even got female bosses that don't want to hire y'all. Yeah, you think the Me Too movement was a success? And what's more, some of the men that were Me Too'd, come to find out, those women, some of those women was lying about those men the whole entire time. But you sitting in front of your camera thinking that the Me Too movement was a success. Get the fuck out of here. Let's continue.
Club.
So, again, she thinks there should be more Me Too movements. She actually looks back at the Me Too movement and it's like, wow, that was great. And how many more do you guys need to realize that we need a world where women are at the center and men are neglected, which is what's been happening for the past few years, which
exactly. basically, and as I said before, they are now in their feelings and emotions because what did Uncle JD said? They are now losing power and control. They are losing power and control, and it makes them afraid. So much so that they got it in their own dickheads that I control these platforms here. They don't own shit. And until they make until these bitter females decide to make their own little platforms, guess what? They ain't shit they can do about it. And as one person clearly stated best, if you don't like how they run their social media platforms, then get the fuck off and find one that will. And I'll say it again. If you don't like how Mark Zuckerberg runs Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, or the rest of his social media platforms, then get the fuck off. Mark Zuckerberg don't owe you bitter broads like this an explanation, nor does he have to kowtow to your damn demands. Mark Zuckerberg don't owe you a goddamn thing. Now, suck it up, put on your big girl panties, and move on. Let's continue.
Is the result of what you guys see around you. The more that this type of rhetoric continues, you only get the backlash of especially the young men. That's the reason the young Gen Z men tilted towards more conservative values. You can be mad about that all you want and be upset and be angry, but you created this environment, and now you're living in the environment you created.
Damn, I didn't even thought about that either. Thanks, Jesus Ed, because you do drive a hard point. The same things that they want to sit back and complain about was the same things that they created it. And it's now down to a point to where we don't give a fuck what these crybabies have to say. Oh, y'all being so hard on women. First off, in some cases, they brought it on themselves. They brought it on themselves. Now they looking for someone to take the fall. It damn sure won't be us. Let's continue.
Like, it's always been masculine energy. So fairness, inclusivity, and being welcoming at the job is now considered feminine energy? They're still not going to pick you, Mark. Bring back the masculine energy? It never left.
She's saying it never left. According to her.
Oh, really? It never left, huh? Then please explain all this diversity, equity, and inclusion. Please explain all this work virtue signaling. And tell me all that is masculine energy, ma'am. God damn it, you can't make this shit up. Let's continue.
Into her, everything that's been going so far has been a great example of masculine energy, right? Let's read a few of these comments. Probably going to be some delusion here, but let's keep going. This comment here says, he said all that while wearing my Aunt Diana's 80s perm on his head. Somebody else here says, once an incel, always an incel. He's another person.
Do I even need to repeat myself on that? And get this, fellas. The vast majority of the comments are also bitter ass bras like her. I'm just giving y'all a heads up on that. Let's continue.
There's another person who says he's desperate for approval. There's a part of me that looks at Mark Zuckerberg and definitely, there's some side eyeing going on there. I can't lie, because I've said that in the last response. But again, I had a jiu-jitsu instructor who commented down below. And being somebody who's actually practiced in Muay Thai and jiu-jitsu, not on a high level, but I have a lot of friends who own gyms and they train, and they've trained me. I know you can't fake something like jiu-jitsu, right? And so I was asking, is this a result of him, as he said in that podcast, delving more into environments that are mostly male-dominated, and they don't look at healthy aggression and friendly competition as toxic? And he's looking around, going to Facebook, thinking to himself, wow, this is really, really a soft environment I've created, and I think the censorship has gone too far. Was that an actual paradigm shift and did actually change his vantage point of how he viewed the world, or was he just scared of Donald Trump? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Somebody else here says he's desperate for approval. Another comment here says real masculinity doesn't have to be announced. And yeah, but what are you talking about? You never announced masculinity. Somebody else here says the lack of masculine energy is just professionalism. What? First of all,
okay, you could tell the one that made that comment is slow as fuck. Let's continue.
Let's start with this. For modern women who are feminists, they want to qualify what's considered masculine energy. They don't want you to qualify. As long as they get to say, that's toxic, that's masculine energy, they're cool, right? But if you don't possess it, they'll call you out for not possessing it. You can't win, which is why.
Exactly. But the roles were reversed. And you got men talking about what is feminine energy and how women should be feminine. Oh, he's now sexist. He's now misogynist. But when they do it somehow, but when you see these women, when you see women like this talk about what is masculine energy, what is masculine energy in which men have it, somehow that's different. Oh, that's not sexism. That's not sexist or misandry. You see the one side of hypocrisy in that? I do. Let's continue.
Why you have to pick your own set of values, healthy values, positive values that you will uphold as a man and stick to it. If you believe it.
Straight up. And also, let me follow Jesus' cab on this. You don't need none of these bitter broads' validation either. In fact, you don't need nobody's validation. As long as you're doing your thing, keep going. Let's continue.
Believe in it, and you believe it's actually good. You fight for it, and you stand for it shamelessly. Sometimes you gotta choose to live your life. You gotta be willing to die for something out here, regardless of what other people may actually tell you. People are toxic, right? There are men out here who are toxic, and there are women out here who are toxic. But I don't think most men who want to embrace their masculinity are toxic just for wanting to do exactly that. An interesting story I'll tell you guys here. I have a friend who has a friend who actually works at Facebook. And I'll tell you a crazy story I heard about just how bad the censorship was over at Facebook. He had a situation where he made a comment during a meeting. It was like a Zoom meeting, where he suggested that his team, which was mostly men, needed a bit more food. Right? They needed more food because they provided like meals and stuff like that. because he's like, hey man, I've got some big dudes over here, and you know the way men eat, right? And he told that joke, like, you know how
Definitely.
men eat a lot. And so they heard that, right, during the Zoom meeting, and then later they put him in sensitivity, like some type of verbiage training to help you learn how to speak better for Facebook, because you're somehow implying that men eat more than women, therefore saying that men are different from women. Like, this is real. This actually happened.
And this is one of the things I can't stand Facebook on. What Facebook was trying to do is trying to manipulate people's opinions, telling them how to think. And this is one of the many reasons why I can't stand Facebook. But that's just my personal opinion. Let's continue.
So he had to take all these classes after making that statement. That's what was going on over there at Facebook. Isn't that shit wild? I want you guys to think about something. When you look around at young Gen Z men especially, and people are worried and asking why do they think this way, or why are they so hungry to embrace their masculinity and are no longer putting up with these feminist ideals that they're forced to consume? Maybe because it's videos like this video that was released just recently. Check it out.
There are thousands of reasons not to have children, but I'm going to give you my top one. I don't want a boy because no matter how I raise him, I know that society is going to get their hands on him and turn him into someone that I'm not proud of.
So she says there's a bunch of reasons to not have kids. But one of the reasons is she doesn't want a boy because she knows no matter how well she does as a mother, society will get a hold of him and turn him into somebody she's not proud of. So she doesn't want to have kids because she doesn't want to bring another boy into this society, because she believes most boys in this society, most men, are evil. Now.
Oh, but that's not sexist, huh? But as I recall, a couple months ago, a man who is soon to be a father, he hoped they was a boy and not a girl. No, these would be the same ones crying. And get this, you have women in his comments talking about how he's sexist and that type of shit because he didn't want to have a girl. But when you got women out here talking about, oh, I don't want to have a boy, again, the energy changes. They don't have that same energy. Basically, it's only okay when they do this shit, but it's foul when men do it. Let's continue.
Now, this video has over 600,000 likes, heading over to 1 million. The actual video itself has, let's see, let me check for you guys, 2.8 million views. These are people who like what she has to say and agree with it. Think about what that says about young men and how they view themselves and how they believe you view them. What I mean by that is a chick can literally get online and say, hey, here's a list of reasons why I hate men. But if I say, hey, find yourself a good feminine, nurturing woman and make sure that you guys build yourself a happy family, if that's what you want. Oh, you're toxic. Why are you looking for that? Shut up.
Straight up, we don't want to hear this shit. Yeah, as that saying goes, if it's good for the goose, then it's good for the gander. And if they don't, and the fact that they okay saying all this, but they get in their feelings when it's the other way around, that right there speaks volumes. And they wonder why these men, especially these young men coming up, don't give a fuck what they think. And they wonder why things are the way they are. Let's continue.
This is an insane world we live in. Let's check out a few of these comments. This is 1 in 3. Really got me. Somebody else who says most real take. So these chicks actually believe. And this is 1 day ago these comments were put on here. It's sad when people say, I want a boy first so that he can protect his sisters. He won't. So here they're like, he won't. Here's somebody else who says, the way my brother acts makes me so sad for my mom. Somebody else who says this is so valid. So general consensus here of a bunch of feminist chicks and some, of course, the weaker men who are taught and conditioned to see men as evil. All things masculine is evil.
Yep, the pussy whip simps who think they are men, but whine and cry the second they get punched in the face.
Only not bad as a man when you act like a woman. And you have to choose. You have to decide that I will not act like a female. I am a man. I am a man, and you have to be proud of being a man. So you guys may have thought I was being extreme by videos that say things like why I hate men. This right here, why I hate men, and just being accepted is more common than the other way around.
Well, it's exactly as I said. It's exactly as I said. They cry, bitch, and complain about misogyny and men hate women. But when you got women on here that openly comes out saying that they hate men and they want to kill all men, these same social media platforms, oh, it's different. Oh, it's not being misandrous towards men. It's not women hating on men. Oh, that's completely different. But as I stated before, let a man say all this stuff about women. These will be the same ones crying about misogyny and how men hate women. And to be honest, everybody's getting sick and fucking tired of this goddamn hypocrisy. But let's continue.
I never see videos, especially on TikTok, of a man saying, why I hate women. Somebody please make this make sense.
Put a finger down if you was friends with somebody who was your best friend.
So she goes into talking about why she hates men, and it's some guy who she thought things were going to work out with, but they never happened. And of course, people in the comment section over here just, congratulating, think it's funny, so on and so forth.
For years.
Exactly. The hypocrisy is real. And this is the reason why Uncle JD over here and most other men clearly don't give a shit anymore. We don't. But more importantly, I want all these retarded fucks who always cry, bitch, and complain about, oh, why you men go after these women like this? Oh, why you men attack these women? Well, guess what? Guess what, you fucking crybabies? Women like her right here is the reason why. And as Uncle JD also stated, if we're going to make a big deal about misogyny, then us men have every right to make a big deal about misandry, whether you like it or not. And it's now down to a point where the men don't want to hear shit about misogyny from the same ones who's scared to call out the misandry. And yes, just like how you got men who hate women, you also got women who hate men. And fuck no, we're not going to turn a blind eye when these females come out and showing the world just how misandrous and sexist they are against men. We will keep calling it out, and we're not going to stop calling it out. So get fucking used to it. Let's continue.
Young men see this on a daily basis. Men view this type of content on a daily basis, and they know how you view them. And the words you use to describe the men you deal with and the men around you and how you view men in general does matter. And no, men are not going to sit down and just let you talk shit about them overall as a gender without serving back some coffee. As those guys are.
Yep, and we're not gonna let y'all whine and cry about it either. No, we're not gonna. No, the men is not gonna stand idly by and watch this blatant hypocrisy manifest, and start making their rounds. Especially from the same females who always whine, boo-hoo, whine, cry about misogyny. And out of all places, this is from TikTok. That's right, the same TikTok who thought it was okay for women to be on their platforms saying how much they hate, how much they want to kill all men. The same TikTok who has a problem with men having male spaces, but yet you got feminists on that platform showing the world that they're no different than the men that they complain about. And if they got men in this world that hate women, then guess what? You have women in this world that hate men too. And no, as I say before, we're not going to be quiet about this shit. You can censor us. You can try to do everything you can to suppress us, but this shit will come out regardless. Love it, like it or love it. But nevertheless, I'm gonna stop this right here. If y'all want to watch the Coffee Pods video in its entirety, I'll leave the link to the full video in the description box. Go check it out. Tell them JD Miles sent you. But that's all I got to say for today. I'm done with these bitter broads and their hypocritical mindsets, and I'm out this bitch. Later.